As early as 8 years ago, the Indian government planned a major project, a $15 billion high-speed rail line between Mumbai and Ahmedabad, which was originally expected to be completed in 2024. In order to promote this huge project, India also borrowed $14.6 billion from Japanese lenders. However, due to various reasons, the high-speed rail project was ultimately not completed as scheduled in 2024, and the Indian government was forced to announce a postponement of the completion time. Once the high-speed rail project is postponed, it means that India's debt pressure on Japan will continue to rise. So far, the initial $14.6 billion debt has risen to about $18 billion. This huge debt has obviously increased the financial burden of the Indian government and made the prospects of the entire project confusing. Now it seems that this Indian high-speed rail is likely to become a failure. But what is even more surprising is that India is now putting the blame on China and even wants China to be responsible for it. What is going on? Why has this high-speed rail project been delayed again and has not been completed? If you like our video content, please click to subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you can receive all our latest video content. Now, let's get into today's topic. When you stand on the streets of Mumbai, you will find that there are dense crowds of people around you, because this is one of the most densely populated cities in India, and it is also the most important financial center and port city in India. As of 2022, Mumbai's GDP has reached $310 billion, accounting for 9.2% of the national GDP. Its per capita GDP is more than 5 times the national average. In addition, Mumbai's industrial output value is also very impressive, accounting for a quarter of the country, of which the cotton textile industry contributes 1/3 of the country's production capacity. In the northwest of Mumbai, there's a city known as the industrial town, that is Ahmedabad, which is also the largest city in Gujarat. The city is located in the cotton-producing area of the Gujarat Plain. It has a rich supply of raw materials, which has laid the foundation for the development of the cotton textile industry, and has therefore become one of the most important cotton textile centers in India. From a geographical perspective, the entire city spans the Sabarmati River. The West Bank is a neatly planned new urban area, and the East Bank is a traditional commercial old area. This structure also drives the centralized development of industry and trade. At the same time, Ahmedabad is also the core transportation hub of Gujarat, connecting inland and coastal ports, allowing raw materials to come in and industrial products to go out, with very high logistics efficiency. In the past few decades, the two cities of Mumbai and Ahmedabad have been conducting economic exchanges through ordinary trains. However, as the pressure of transportation has become increasingly greater, some train routes have begun to age, and the current railway network can no longer meet the needs of the two cities. In order to improve the transportation network of the two cities, the Indian government decided to build a super high-speed rail, which can promote the development of manufacturing and tourism. According to the project plan, the Mumbai-Ahmedabad high-speed rail in India is about 500 kilometers long, which is roughly equivalent to the distance from San Francisco to Los Angeles. The Shinkansen is designed to run at a speed of 350 kilometers per hour, which will reduce the travel time between Mumbai and Ahmedabad from 8 hours to 2 hours. While most of the railway line will use elevated lines, it will also include a 21-kilometer tunnel, of which 7 kilometers will be an undersea tunnel. Considering the construction of this level of tunnel, a large tunnel boring machine is required to complete the operation. For this reason, the Indian government held discussions and finally decided to purchase equipment from Germany. They believe that Germany's technology is more mature and stable, which can help them smoothly promote the construction of this high-speed rail corridor. In June 2022, the Indian Procurement Department went to Herrenekte in Germany to discuss the purchase of large excavators. During the negotiation between the two sides, after the German company understood India's construction needs, they strongly recommended the horseshoe shield machine to India. As far as I know, this shield machine is completely different from the excavator. The shield machine adopts full-section cutting technology, integrating 3 systems: rotary excavation of the cutter head, synchronous lining installation, and continuous transportation of slag. Its closed operation mode can effectively control the surface settlement and realize the integrated operation of excavation and support. In contrast, the excavator relies on the hydraulically driven working device to complete the intermittent excavation and loading operation, realizes the material transfer through the reciprocating motion of the bucket, and lacks the tunnel-forming function. Moreover, the general shield machine is specially used for the development of urban underground space, especially for subway tunnels, municipal pipe corridors, and other projects with extremely high requirement for surface disturbance control. Its mechanized excavation speed is 5 to 8 times that of traditional construction methods, and it can cope with changing and complex geological conditions. At the same time, the shield machine includes special modules such as precise photoelectric guidance system, segment assembly machine, and mud and water treatment device, and the length of the whole machine is usually more than 80 meters. The excavator adopts an open structure design, and the standard configuration includes a 3-articulated mechanism consisting of a boom, a dipper, and a bucket, and the size of the whole machine is generally controlled within 10 meters. It is worth noting that the horseshoe shield machine produced by the German company once had a tunneling speed of up to 6 meters per hour. In key areas such as hard rock excavation and sealing technology, Germany is still in a leading position. Even in the face of complex rock layers or mixed strata, this shield machine can still maintain a good speed and operating stability. In difficult projects such as building underground tunnels, this horseshoe shield machine is undoubtedly an ideal choice for India. After listening to the advice of the German company, India finally decided to purchase 3 horseshoe shield machines with a total order value of more than $330 million. But India did not know that although these large tunnel boring machines were designed by Herrenknecht of Germany, they were actually manufactured in a factory in Guangzhou, China. As a result, in October 2024, China suddenly seized the 3 shield machines that were originally intended to be exported to India. As of now, these machines have not been released by Chinese customs. So why did China seize these shield machines planned to be exported to India? When I learned about the whole thing, I found that China's seizure of the 3 large tunnel boring machines was not groundless. But the story dates back to 2020. That year, India ambitiously planned several large-scale infrastructure projects, such as the Coastal Highway Tunnel in Mumbai and the subway project in Bangalore. And these projects are inseparable from a core equipment, the shield machine. Speaking of shield machines, India thought of China at the first time. On the one hand, they want to purchase equipment, and more importantly, they hope to take this opportunity to learn China's advanced technology and improve their own engineering capabilities. After all, since China independently developed the first shield machine in 2008, China's technology has been continuously upgraded and replaced, and it has already gained a certain reputation internationally at that time. In March 2020, India expressed to China its desire to purchase 18 large-scale, slurry water pressure balanced composite shield machines, with a total value of more than $1.9 billion. Logically speaking, China should not sell such an important shield machine to India. After all, the relationship is not very good. But at that time, China insisted on the spirit of good neighborliness and friendship, and finally generously agreed to India's order for 18 large-scale, slurry water pressure balanced composite shield machines, and even promised to manufacture the first 8 in China and provide technical support later. India was very happy to see China's sincerity and also expressed that it would strengthen its subsequent project cooperation with China. But things started to change soon. After China delivered the first shield machine, India suddenly became less cooperative. They began to refuse to issue visas to Chinese technicians, making it impossible for the Chinese team to enter and the project to advance. What's more outrageous is that India also delayed the final payment for various reasons, dragging it back and forth, and finally making the entire transaction indefinitely suspended. Later, India found that there were no shield machines, and many infrastructure projects were all stuck. So they took the initiative to come to China again, hoping to resume cooperation with China, and were even willing to purchase another shield machine. Unfortunately, China's attitude changed this time. Since India defaulted on the final payment, China has clearly ordered, stop exporting domestic shield machines to India. Even the horseshoe shield machine originally transferred from Germany was also stopped. So the question is, why did India default on the final payment? In fact, in 2022, India is facing serious fiscal deficit and debt problems. That year, India's fiscal deficit accounted for 6.9% of GDP, far higher than the targets set by the government. At the same time, their total debt accounted for 75.4% of GDP, which means that the Indian government is under tremendous fiscal pressure. In addition, India's foreign exchange reserves are also shrinking, decreasing by $83 billion in a year. Although this has alleviated the decline of Indian rupee against the US dollar to a certain extent, keeping the decline at around 10%, making it relatively consistent with the performance of other Asian emerging market currencies. But it also brings another problem. Their foreign exchange reserves are no longer enough to support 3 months of import demand, and the pressure on the balance of payments has increased sharply. In this economic context, India is simply unable to pay the final payment for China's first shield machine, and even the payment for the subsequent 17 shield machines is in difficulty. However, some technical experts believe that India is more like deliberately defaulting on the final payment for the Chinese shield machine. The purpose of doing so is to delay time so that Indian engineers have the opportunity to study and crack the internal technology of the Chinese shield machine, so as to build India's own shield machine industry in the future. But the reality is that Indian engineers are unable to assemble or maintain the shield machine independently. In order to save more time during transportation, the large shield machine must be disassembled and divided into multiple batches of parts for transportation, and then assembled by Chinese engineers. At that time, Indian engineers were very confident. They thought that since they had seen Chinese engineers help disassemble the parts of the shield machine, it would not be too difficult to assemble them by themselves in a counterlogical way. So they refused to issue visas to Chinese technicians, preventing the Chinese team from entering India. But after trying for several months, Indian engineers simply failed to crack China's core technology. It is precisely because India owes the final payment for the Chinese shield machine that the first batch of German shield machines, which were originally scheduled to arrive in India in October 2024, have been stranded in the bonded warehouse of the Chinese port for nearly 8 months. Until now, there has been no notice of release from the Chinese customs. At present, the Mumbai high-speed railway station in Mumbai, India, is the only underground station on the Mumbai and Ahmedabad high-speed railway corridor. The excavation of the station foundation pit has completed 142,000 cubic meters, but the total volume still needs to reach 187,000 cubic meters. Since the 3 large shield machines ordered by India from Germany are still stranded in the Chinese port, the entire project is expected to be delayed until 2030. However, this series of problems has also caused dissatisfaction among many people in India. In order to divert people's attention, Prime Minister Modi pointed the finger at China. On the one hand, India accused China of detaining equipment and causing project delays, and on the other hand, it also tried to shift the main responsibility to China. In their reports, Indian media frequently mentioned the 2020 Galwan conflict, implying that China deliberately obstructed and restricted India's development by seizing German equipment manufactured in a Guangzhou factory. At the same time, India also expressed dissatisfaction to Germany's Herrennecht, saying that they could not buy the required tunnel boring machines, which happened to be manufactured in China. So, do you think China should continue to release the first batch of tunnel boring machines that were seized to India? To not miss out on our future projects and news updates, please make sure you subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications. We will continue to provide you with more exciting and interesting content.